Hey everybody, it's Lon Seidman, and we're taking a look today at the HP Tango. This is a new printer from HP that is in many ways just kind of a regular inkjet printer, but they're trying to simplify the entire process of printing and making it more of a device that might sit in a more prominent place in your home versus a desk or a home office or something like that. So they sell it with some upholstery here to give it a nice cover and a clean look to it. And we're going to be taking a look at some of the things you can do with this printer, especially given that they're trying to market this as an IoT device more so than a computer peripheral. So we'll be looking at voice printing and some IFTTT stuff along with just regular printing as well in this review. Now, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, this is on loan from HP. So when we're done with this, it goes back to them. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's take a look at it now and get into what you can do with this simplified printer. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. This will sell for $199 with the cloth cover. That's the Tango X version. The regular Tango, which has no cloth cover, sells for about $149. It's relatively compact. It's 15 inches by 8 inches and 3 inches high. So it's not going to take up all that much room, but of course you do need to have it plugged in. And the only port on the device is actually that powered port there. That is it. There's no USB port or any other connectivity option here. This is strictly a Wi-Fi printer, and it has to get configured with your phone when you first get it. And I'm okay with that, because typically what I've seen with printers from HP and other manufacturers is that there's a bunch of different ways you can get your printer up and running. Some have a screen so you can log into the Wi-Fi there. Others you might want to plug into your computer or some other method that involves installing drivers and everything else. I found that this was a nice way to onboard the customer, in that you take out the smartphone that you likely already have. You connect it to the printer initially via Bluetooth automatically, connect it up to the Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. Another good thing that I've found here in the installation process is that it has dual band wireless. So I actually have a separate 5 gigahertz network from my 2.4 gigahertz network, and it was able to connect with that. A lot of times with many of the printers I've looked at, they don't connect to the network very easily, given that I have that bifurcation going on here in the house. So there was really no issues getting the printer up and running, save for a little bit of difficulty getting the ink cartridges installed. It wasn't hard, but it was a little harder than I thought it should be. But beyond that, it was a pretty quick and easy installation process. Now, it does use the regular HP ink cartridges you might be associated with. In fact, the print mechanism here isn't anything all that new. It's been in other HP printers before. It uses the multicolor cartridge along with the black cartridge, and the replacement cost, if you opt out of their subscription program, can be a little on the higher side, about $40 per cartridge. You'll get about 600 pages or so out of the black and white cartridge here, the black cartridge, and about 415 pages out of the color cartridge. And that is, of course, based on kind of an average amount of page coverage of ink. So if you're printing out documents like my little cheat sheet here, this is something that would probably get you closer to that 600-page estimate. But if you're doing something like photos and other things that cover more of the page of ink, you'll definitely blow through those cartridges a lot quicker. So HP, of course, will try to get you into their Instant Ink program that you can see up here on the printer. And believe it or not, I'm actually okay with that subscription program, because I think it does save some money. So there are 3 options. One is 50 pages a month for $3 a month. The other plan is 100 pages per month at $4.99. And then they have a frequent printing plan for $10 a month, which gets you 300 pages per month. They also have some rollover, so if you don't use all the pages, you can move them into the next month, and the printer automatically sends you ink as it runs low. The difference that they're putting into the program with this printer, though, is that photos are free. They're not counted against your page count. So if you are printing anything 5x7 or lower, you will get those prints for free. And if all you did was print out 5x7 or lower photographs, they'll just keep sending you ink as part of your monthly plan with no penalty for that. So those photos are not counted, but other documents would be under that scenario. That offer is unique to this printer. It does not appear to have an expiration date, but I'm sure down the road they could. But if you are looking for a printer that is using this subscription program, this one might be the way to go if you do intend on printing a lot of photos. Now, as far as photos are concerned, I consider this printer to be what I call a casual photo printer, in that it will print out pretty decent photographs, but they won't look as nice as a printer that's designed as a photo printer, so just bear that in mind. The paper capacity is probably about 50 pages, give or take, depending on how thick the paper is. It doesn't do any automatic duplexing, which means that it will not automatically flip the paper over and print on the other side of the page for a two-sided document. You'll have to do that manually yourself when the paper runs through. So it doesn't have a lot of the features we see in some of the home office printers, but I think their concept here is something minimal from a size standpoint, and you lose some features as a result of that. Now, getting the printer to work with your computers is a very easy process. Once it is on the network, all of your computers will see it. We tested it with Windows 10. It was a very simple process. It just popped right up on the list of available printers, and the same experience will be had on the Mac. And we're going to take a look at that right now with some test documents we're going to print out from my MacBook. So on my Mac here, if I just go and try to print out this document of text, I can just go up to my printer here. It'll show up as a nearby printer. I'll click on that, and it's going to get itself prepared, and that is it. I can click print here, and that should get the printer printing very quickly, as you can see. Now, this is a regular default print setting for black and white, so you can see how fast the printer prints out. They're saying you're getting about 10 pages per minute on a document like this. We're going to go back to my computer now and print out this color document that has a lot going on in it. We'll select the Tango again, do the first page. I'm just going to leave this on normal so you can see what a basic print will look like with this thing. So we're going to click on print now, and that will get the printer operating here, as you can see. So we'll let that document pop out. So color will be a little bit slower. They say about 8 pages per minute, but it does come out pretty quickly, as you can see here over the network. This is in the draft format, so the color will not be as good as it might be in the finer format. So what I'll do is run off a fine one in a minute just to show you a comparative. So there's the color document there. Came out pretty quickly. Get a little audio tone to let you know that it's done. And then here is the black and white one. And now you can see what each of these looks like up close in their draft format. And here is what it looks like on the fine format. So let's shift gears now to some photo printing, and we're going to load up the HP Smart app to do that. And you can see at the top we have the printer that we're using. It's got our ink levels, and it's also able to tell me the paper supply. So if I pull out the paper I have in there right now, you'll see that it very quickly will update to let me know that it's run out of paper. And that I might need to put some more in before I start printing. And all those status updates will be available to you on your local network, but also over the internet with this particular printer. So it's helpful to know if your printer has paper in it before you start printing. So we're going to go ahead and print some photos out here, and we're going to use the app here to do that. You can connect up your Facebook and Instagram, and you can also use your photo library built into your phone. This, of course, will work on iOS as well as on Android. So let's pick out a photo now and run it over to the printer. So I found this photo of my dog that I'm going to print out real quick. So I'm going to tap on it, and I can get some more options available to me after I do that. So I can set some of the color and quality options here. So for example, if I want a better print quality here, I can select best. It's apparently not on best by default. You also have the ability to print it out in grayscale or black and white if you want, but I'm going to leave it at color. I'm also going to let it know that I've got some photo paper in there, which is on by default, and I think that's all I want to do with this photo here. So I'm going to click done and then click on print, and we'll see how long it takes for that photo to come out. Now, these photos will print a little bit slower than some of the pages we ran before, just because we're printing at the fine quality, so it's going to be a higher resolution, and it's also covering the entire page here. This will print borderless on 4x6 as well as on those 5x7 prints as well. So it took it about a minute to print the photograph out from the time that we tapped on the print button on the phone. So not all that bad from the standpoint of a casual photo printer. Image quality isn't bad either. You can see what this image looks like up close here. It's got some decent detail to it. The printer is a 1200 DPI printer, so it's got the ability to give you some fine details, but again, you'll have better image quality coming out of a photo printer that's designed for that task. You can print the photos from their app, but you can also print photos on your network using your phone's built-in print mechanism. So on the iPhone, for example, you can use AirPrint, but you'll have more control over what gets printed if you use the HP app. And when you're away from home, you can print the photos out remotely while you are away using that app over the internet. Now the printer, of course, lacks a scanner, but you can use your phone to do the scanning. So if I want to make a copy, for example, I can tap on copy here on the HP app. It will find that document on my desk there and automatically get it oriented properly. I could add more pages if I want to, and then if I want to print this out in color, I can just tap on Start Color, and that will send the document to the printer no matter where I am in the world. So you can see it's starting to print that out now. I did find the copies take a little bit longer to print than a regular document might, but they do come out pretty nicely here. And while this is printing, just a few other things to note. They've got a nice little light here at the bottom that gives you some basic indicators as to what the status of the printer is. So if you're seeing a light flash at you and you're not sure what it means, you can hop back over to the app and it will give you some feedback as to what exactly is going on there. But as you can see here, our document is printing out just fine and was able to do that from a scan through the app. Now, given they are marketing this as an IoT device versus more than just a peripheral, they found some ways you can use voice commands with the Amazon AWord products along with Google Home and Cortana. So what we can do here with the AWord is say, computer, ask my printer to print today's comics.
I have sent today's comics to your printer.
And what's going to happen here is that from that voice command, it is going to send some comics apparently to the printer here and print them out over the internet. I found these commands do take maybe 20 or 30 seconds or so to begin printing, so we're going to take a quick break here and I'll show you what is going to come out when it is done. So about 20 or 30 seconds later, we got our comics printed out, and this page changes every day. So if I ask for it tomorrow, I will see a different set of comics here. These are probably the same comics that ran in newspapers today as well. They come out in full color. It's got a weekly one also, so I'm guessing that might be the Sunday comic edition if you missed it in your paper. And they also have the ability to print out coloring pages for your kids to color stuff in with, and that's another thing you can ask for from your favorite voice assistant, so that's pretty cool. And because this printer is being marketed as a Internet of Things device, it's got IFTTT support as well. So you could have it, for example, print photos from a Dropbox folder anytime something gets added to it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff you could do as well, and you can poke around on the ifttt.com website to look at some ways you can integrate the printer into your home automation, for example. Now, all this internet stuff is pretty cool, but I did find that it was a little more difficult to get things printed remotely with your computer when you're out and about. So on Windows, you are prompted to install that HP Smart app, which is a way to get things to print remotely. But it wasn't really all that well integrated into the operating system. On the Mac, it doesn't prompt you for any kind of app installation for remote printing there. But what they do, though, is give you an email for your printer. So you can send a PDF or a Word document, for example, to that email address, and then it will print out remotely that way. So there are some ways to get at it. On Chromebooks, there is a process for getting things to print, and you can follow a video that I did a few months ago on that. What's cool on this printer is that although it doesn't have many buttons to push, there is a little info button here at the top. And if you tap on that button, it will print out a quick information sheet to give you your printer's local IP address. So you can, if you want, jump into its little web-based control panel using the IP address that will print out on your network information, and that way you can get your Chromebook working and make more finer adjustments to the printer if you really want to get into some advanced configuration. So a lot of the things we've seen on some of the other HP printers that are more complex are in here, just kind of hidden under the surface. And again, if you've got a Chromebook and want to print remotely, it does support Google Cloud Print, and if you follow my guide for HP printers, this printer will work exactly the same way. So ultimately, this printer is designed for people that don't print all that frequently. They've done a nice job making it very simple to operate, and I think if you're looking for something that you do plan to tuck away when not in use, it is fairly well masked here by the linen cover that you can get with it. They've got a couple different colors available too. This doesn't really reinvent printing or anything. It's the same printing mechanism inside. All of the frustrations you might have right now over ink and supply costs will also be on this one, but I think if you are an occasional printer and really don't like what you're paying for ink cartridges, even for that occasional printing, I think that instant ink thing might be worth considering, especially with the free photo printing you get as part of the deal on this particular device. So that's going to do it for the HP Tango, and this is Lon Seidman. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, Gerard Newberg, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.